Spawning over here in the top right position, ladies and gentlemen, as the red Zerg player adored the world over, but currently trailing 1-0 to his teammate. What will he be able to do? A fan favorite all over Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is JoRoSaR, Liquid TLO. His opponent going to be spawning in the bottom left-hand position of Daybreak as the blue Protoss of GSL fame. Will he be able to pull out the 2-0 victory? That win in game number 1 looked relatively conclusive on a number of fronts, but TLO has the potential to take games off anyone. Can he complete the 2-0 in the series? It is Liquid HerO. So we have a pylon on the low ground for HerO. This is, of course, indicative of an early expansion, probably a Forge fast expand. Now, this is a very, very large area to wall off, so Nexus first is still possible, but we often see Forges get put down first to try and complete the wall a little bit earlier on Daybreak, as we do have quite an early probe scout immediately from HerO to make sure that TLO isn't actually doing anything funky. And on TLO's part, we can see that he's actually probably going to go for a pool first now that he sees the probe here, unless his micro is exceedingly good. And never mind, it looks like... No, there we go. A pool's going to go down on the edge of the creep. He had the option of going straight down to grab the hatch first, but that, of course, is always just a little bit risky. You can get all sorts of blocking maneuvers as well, and there are potential timings that can do that as well if we don't go for a Forge fast expand, which, of course, he doesn't see yet with his Overlord. So everything's going to be going out as normal. Pool first into second and third base, most likely, from TLO. And HerO is just going to settle into cookie cutter Protoss versus Zerg. We have a drone now going to be harassing this probe just a little bit, and actually moving straight towards a third base location. So will TLO be able to put down that hatch first? It looks like he has absolutely no problem with going with the third base. He's going up to 300 minerals now, and there goes the hatchery. So HerO is perfectly happy to allow that to happen. He did not attempt to pylon block the third base as well. The spawning pool is now complete, and TLO will shortly be making a couple lings just to ward off this probe so that he can put down his third base as normal. Nothing too much out of the ordinary there. In the meantime, we can see from this timing here, it looks like HerO went for the Nexus first. So he's feeling fairly comfortable, it looks like, in this matchup, not thinking that TLO is going to go for any sort of early timing against him. Gateway, and then the Photon Cannon, presumably a Cybernetics Core or a second Gateway with the Cyber Core in the back of the base as well, like Grubby likes to do, for instance, if he decides that that is worthwhile. TLO sending out the drone now for his third hatchery at his natural expansion location, of course. And we have gone a little bit of the long road round, but we have reached a fairly typical Protoss versus Zerg at this point. And Daybreak, of course, is a map particularly famous for very, very epic long games. So it looks like this could be set to be one of those. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this map before, and I'm guessing there aren't too many, but just in case, there are destructible debris out in the middle of the map, which is why we have everyone scouting via this bottom location here, or via this top lane here. And that actually makes the rush distance on this map deceptively large. So you normally wait until late game where one player feels that they have enough firepower to overpower the other and constantly resupply with units. That's when the player with the more confidence tends to destroy these destructible debris just before they mount their attack. We often see Broodlord pushes, for instance, through the center as well. So that is that's basically the map architecture in a nutshell. There are a lot of chasms here, which make Banshees ever so annoying and stuff like that. Blink play is slightly discouraged just because it's not a normal cliff. It's very difficult. I don't think you can blink across those kind of gaps and stuff like that. So they don't tend to be quite as good on this map as, for example, Antigua Shipyard or Cloud Kingdom. But many tech routes are still possible, and Blink is always an incredibly useful skill to have, so there is no point writing anything off at this stage of the game. It's just slightly less common as an opener on this particular map. HerO now going to be going up to all four of his gas geysers, rather. I'm not sure why I said 3. There are an even number at each base, whereas TLO going to be grabbing the first 2 here in his main base. 6 drones on the way, still wanting to power up as much as possible off of these 3 hatcheries, as HerO sends in a little bit of a Zealot harass towards a third base early on. He actually sees the Queen is there and immediately backs out. Very wise move. The current worker supply is 38 to 37 in favor of our Zerg player. In the meantime, it looks like the Zealot trying to do as much damage to the Queen as possible, but some Lings are actually going to cut him off at the pass. A nice micro from TLO, preventing the Zealot from going anywhere, only losing a single Ling in that exchange. Really, really well played by him. As HerO now going to be getting that +1 upgrade from his Forge. And we have TLO now going for his lair in addition to that Roach Warren and Evo Chamber. Back in the main base, as far as tech is concerned, we have a robotics facility coming down from HerO at the moment, so potentially we could be going to some sort of immortal base play like we saw in the previous game against TLO. He is getting a healthy number of sentries as well, so he will be able to force field off any potential aggression here, giving this little overlord a bit of grief as well. Not too much he can do about him right there until he gets an observer out, but as soon as he does, this overlord is likely to become toast. Two Lings attempting to scout, unfortunately not able to see very much here from TLO indeed. Although TLO will know that a robotics facility is there as soon as this overlord dies, because he must know that an observer was required, of course, to take that apart on the high ground. A nice little collection of blood inside that force field wall there. Another overlord at the third base, trying to see when HerO is going to be getting his third base timing, and in fact, as soon as the layer completes, spreading goop there as well to delay any sort of timing coming out of him. We have the pylon going down at the third as well. That overlord hasn't been there for too long, so once that goes down, the creeps should resend at a relatively okay pace, and the Overseer now going to be popping in, seeing everything inside the main. TLO getting a little bit supply block there from those overlords going down, but nothing too drastic at this moment in time. Glial Reconstitution, Metabolic Boost is about to complete. I like that he's getting +1 Ground Carapace, because it means that is completely fine for both his Zerglings and his Roaches. A nice flexible upgrade to get there as he grabs his Infestation Pit. So now going up to gases number 3 and 4 is TLO. Of course, we'll need a little bit more of that for Infestors and Roach play later on as well. Making a lot of Overlords at the moment, actually. He just went from 80, he's going up to 84, 120, so maybe wanting to make sure he doesn't get supply block later on, or maybe even going for some sort of drop play. We'll have to wait and see. One of those Stalkers getting picked apart there, and oh dear, the Sentry allowing a few Lings through. This is not what HerO wanted in this particular game, and a little bit frustrating there, but unfortunately the Lings from TLO just sort of sitting there rather than running up into the main base or harassing some of the probes, and it looks like HerO is going to be able to hold okay. Currently 96 supply to 120, and the work supply is 59 to 64. We have got a Twilight Council now going down from HerO just a little bit later here on the right-hand side of the main base, and TLO is now producing a lot of Roaches, ladies and gentlemen, as a Warp Prism going to be moving out from the main base, losing a little bit of shield damage. 2 workers killed from TLO, exactly 0 from here, so we'll keep an eye on what this Warp Prism does a little bit later. Does he catch a tail end of those Roaches? Yes, he does. So HerO knows that some Roaches are incoming. If he didn't before, he certainly does now, as these Roaches move underneath that Observer in the center of the map. Meanwhile, this Warp Prism looking... Oh no, the Spore Crawler rooting in the perfect place with the Queen as well, but unable to kill the Warp Prism just yet. I think HerO should be able to get away with it. A couple of Zealots trying to do some damage there, but the Roaches are able to stave it off. So the harassment from this Warp Prism is rather limited. TLO in the meantime trying to get into the third base of HerO, unable to do so at this time. A couple of gateways and photon cannons actually going to be half walling it off as well, and now TLO is going to be going around the back to try and get into the middle. Unfortunately, not going to be able to get that to work either, as those excellent force fields from HerO allowing him enough time to get his army back before TLO once again attacks. We have, however, got another group of Roaches at the third base location from TLO, looking poised to move back in once again, and we're going to be seeing a yo-yo between the third base and the natural. Here we go. The Roaches moving in. There are a healthy number of cannons here, and TLO has to move in very quickly indeed. Nice warp in of Zealots trying to block the advancement of those Roaches, unable to do so, and now we have some Roaches in the mineral line, but we have Immortals, we have Sentries and Stalkers in this army composition. There's a lot of firepower here for HerO, so even though TLO might be able to do some economic damage, it could potentially be at the cost of his army, but HerO is neglecting these Roaches that are completely destroying his mineral line at the moment. And now the rest of his army is going into the natural. Will TLO be able to squeeze this one out? I'm not sure. Some warp-ins here at the natural expansion preventing those Roaches from going further in, and it looks like the army now is being sandwiched from 2 sides for HerO. He is literally between a rock and a hard place, and both of those places contain an awful lot of Roaches, able to destroy everything on one side, but 3 Immortals might prove to be a little bit too much for TLO at this time. He has killed 11 workers this game, but HerO has successfully managed to defend on 2 fronts, thanks to his perseverance and his preservation of these immortals here. 6 kills on that one, and I have no doubt the majority of them were roaches. TLO trying once again to go up into the natural expansion location, but HerO coming back with a lot of immortals here, and I don't think TLO is going to be able to do anything about it while HerO still has those force fields available. Really nice holds there from him. He's currently 134 supply to TLO's 140. He's also taking his 4th base in the center of the map. Half decent force fields, trapping a couple of roaches there. And HerO once again repelling TLO, but we have a small group of roaches coming back in to the 3rd base, while simultaneously another group coming into the natural expansion. We have Blink from HerO. He is Blink microing his heart out over here, and the Immortals are able to repel the army over there until at least the photon cannons go out live. So once again, TLO is being repelled here, there, and everywhere, and even an offensive Blink forward to make sure that TLO does not come back. It looks like HerO has won the battle for now. TLO, though, is not going to give up. He is keeping this group of units here just in case he finds an opportunity to attack into there once again a little bit later. We have a 4th base coming down at the forward location. As mentioned, this hatchery is going to be popping in about 30 seconds time. In the meantime, we have a macro hatch at the natural expansion spread out from the regular hatch so as to maximize that creep spread. Really cool stuff there, not having to use the creep trimmer. And we have another Evo chamber coming up now from TLO. What are our upgrades like? Let's take a quick look. It looks like we have +2 weapons and +1 armor coming out here from HerO, and in the meantime on TLO's half of the map we have exactly 0 upgrades, interestingly, on TLO. Now that is very interesting because I swear we saw +1 ground carapace being researched earlier. I wonder if it was cancelled for any reason. Maybe it's my eyes playing tricks on me. It has been a long day after all, but nonetheless, HerO definitely has a large upgrade advantage as it currently stands in this game. He's also making another War Prism, and he has one down here at the southern location already. Is he going to be going to the other half of the map, to the north of the map, with the second War Prism? Yes, he is. This is so unbelievably tense for both players. Picking apart does HerO that small group of units at the top of the map. Really well played there, and he's actually put a pylon down with an intent to take his 4th base in this northern location. And TLO now going to be taking down the destructible rocks in the middle of the map. Does HerO sense this is coming? Yes, he can see it. He can see all of this coming. Fire the watchtower, so he is going to be prepared for it. He has got a number of zealots and that War Prism coming in at the bottom, and he's going to be sending that towards a 3rd. At the same time, this massive engagement, and don't forget the War Prism in the main as well. I can only look at one thing at once, but that's an excellent surround from TLO on all of those Immortals. Good force fields, though, zoning a lot of them back out and keeping a decent number of them alive. We have got another attack at the 3rd base with a decent number of zealots here, and it looks like they're going to be able to take down this hatchery. Meanwhile, in the main base, the War Prism's here, and he's doing nothing at the moment, but hopefully HerO will get around to tending to that soon. Only 2 Immortals left alive here in the main battle now for HerO, but he's bringing reinforcements and has charged us so well. That's going to be enough, and GG, ladies and gentlemen. TLO cannot take it. The 3rd base has gone down, and HerO completes the 2-0 victory over his teammate.